Welcome to the CES Exams Review Center. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get fresh tips and updates on the Career Executive Service. Please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you. Kayo po ba ay nahihirapan sa proseso para maging CESO? Welcome to CESO Tips.
Hi, I am Rene.
And I am Stella, and we will help you become a CESO. What are the myths or mga haka-haka tungkol sa CESO? Sa Pilipino, ang ibig sabihin ng myth ay maling paniniwala. Well, ano ang mga maling paniniwala ng mga maraming Pilipino tungkol sa CESO? In today's podcast, we will discuss 5 CESO myths ng mga listeners natin.
Myth number 1. There is only one examination for CESOS.
Myth number 2. The CES-WE is just like the Civil Service Professional Examination.
Myth number 3. The Department Secretary appoints the CESO.
Myth number 4. There is no need for CESO rank and title when you have a political padrino.
And myth number 5. Self-review is enough to pass the examinations.
Welcome back to CESO Tips. Sa mga bago nating listeners, please follow us on Spotify. To find us, search our podcast title, CESO Tips, or the artists' names, Rene and Stella Alawin, and presto, you get loads and loads of CES information that will help you become a CESO.
We are the first and only online review center in the Philippines para sa mga gustong mag-CESO. Currently, we are running 2 online review programs, namely the Career Executive Service Written Examination or CES-WE online review program and the Enhanced Assessment Center online review program.
Our online review programs are not of the traditional types which lead you straight to predictive questions and answers. We do not make hula of what's going to happen in the examinations. We teach our candidates the concepts and the strategies involving the examination that they are reviewing for, and then we show them their applications in the tests or simulated exercises. We are telling you this in relation to the myths that we are going to present right now.
Myth number 1. There is only one examination for CESOS. This is unfortunate for those candidates planning to be a CESO who have the traditional test orientations. Graduates of medicine, law, and other board examinations expect a single test in the CES process. As we mentioned in our first episode, when you apply for CESO, you go through the 4 stages of the CES eligibility process. This is just the first phase of your journey. The next phase is getting the CESO rank.
The 4 stages of the CES eligibility process are the Career Executive Service Written Examination, the Assessment Center, the validation of on-the-job performance, and the panel interview. These 4 stages are ladderized. You must pass the first stage before you can move on to the rest of the stages.
The CES written examination, formerly called the Management Aptitude Test Battery, is the first of the 4-stage CES eligibility examination process. It is a paper and pencil type of test that determines the applicant's general intelligence and knowledge of management concepts and principles. Currently, the CES-WE is composed of 220 test items with 7 subtests as follows: error recognition, reading comprehension, data interpretation, logical reasoning, information, management concepts and problems, and essay. The test is administered for 2 hours and 55 minutes.
The Assessment Center, the second stage of the CES eligibility examination process, is a series of simulation exercises involving work-based situations designed to measure whether the applicant has the capacity to advance to managerial duties and responsibilities and determine her ability to grow and develop in the organization. These exercises allow candidates to elicit and demonstrate managerial competencies, key behaviors, and significant performance dimensions indicators essential in the organization. A typical AC is composed of 4 centers consisting of 6 assessees who are observed by 3 assessors per center. It is a whole-day exam that runs from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. The list of AC passers is officially released within 60 days from the date of the AC through the CES-WE website. Candidates are provided with their AC result indicating their performance in each AC competency.
Validation, which is the third of the 4-stage CES eligibility examination system, is the process that facilitates a detailed inquiry, examination, and verification of the candidate's on-the-job performance, managerial, and behavioral competence and integrity. The investigation is done by a CES-WE certified validator through feedback gathering mechanisms such as interviews of resource persons, public officials, or employees, and non-government sector representatives who have worked with the candidate and who may have knowledge of the candidate's fitness to be conferred CES eligibility. Validation is conducted to ensure that the candidate's performance in the previous stages of the examination is also demonstrated in the workplace. There may be some candidates who appear to be competent based on written tests, but may not be so in their actual jobs. Thus, validation of their on-the-job performance becomes relevant and essential.
The panel interview is the last stage of the CES eligibility process. It is composed of a 3-man panel conducted to determine and assess the applicant's confidence, creativity, self-worth, and outlook on his or her work in the organization, managerial capabilities and potentials, leadership qualities, office accomplishments, and performance, as well as the applicant's integrity, are discussed during the interview. The interview is also an opportunity for the interviewers to give feedback on the applicant's performance on the 3 previous stages he or she underwent. Wow! The rest of our board examinations pale in comparison to the set of examinations a CES candidate must go through before he or she gets the CES eligibility title. That doesn't stop there. The next phase is getting the CESO rank. We shall discuss this topic in the next episode. Medyo mahabang usapan ito. Mga kapatid, kapuso, at kabisyo, let's go to myth number 2.
Myth number 2. The CES-WE is just like the civil service professional examination. Now, based on Senator Revilla's Senate Resolution 562, directing the Senate Committee on Civil Service Government Reorganization to conduct an inquiry on the low passing rate for the professional eligibility exams conducted in August 2018, which was only 12.25% for the professional level and 11.35% for the sub-professional level, to the 3 to 5% passing rate in the CES-WE, we can conclude that these examinations are not alike. Having passed these 2 examinations in 1986 and 2005 respectively, The CES-WE is twice harder than the CSE. The CES-WE includes test areas on management and S rating which are absent in the CSE.
Myth number 3. The department secretary appoints the CESO. Many people think CESOs are appointed by their department secretaries. On the contrary, only the President of the Philippines can appoint CESOs based on Section 3 of the Career Executive Service Board Circular Number 2, Series of 2003. Section 3. Original appointment to CES rank. Appointment to appropriate classes based on ranks in the CES shall be made by the President from a list of CES eligibles recommended by the board. Only a CES eligible assigned to a CES position may be appointed by the President to a CES rank. The entry rank in the CES shall be CESO rank 6 regardless of the position to which a CES eligible is assigned. Section 4. Basis for original appointments to CESO rank 6. The original appointment to a CESO rank 6 of a CES eligible by the President shall be based on 3 major criteria: broad levels of responsibility, personal qualifications, and demonstrated competence.
Myth number 4 says there is no need for CESO rank and title when you have a political padrino. I remember very well a subordinate of mine who said, bakit pa tayo maghihirap pumasa sa mga examinations para maging CESO kung nakukuha naman ang mga matataas na posisyon dahil sa political padrino? I admit, he is partly right and partly wrong. Dahil sa form of government natin, ang presidente ang pumipili ng mga cabinet members. The president also appoints undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, and other high officials. If we were in a parliamentary form of government, this won't happen. But this is a sad reality. However, those appointed or designated by the president to those positions are on a co-terminus basis. Pag alis ng presidente, kasama din sila unless they apply and become CESOs during their tenure. CES-WE provides opportunities for non-career personnel to become CESOs through the portfolio assessment system.
And finally, myth number 5. Self-review is enough to pass the examinations. Diba, you said many candidates failed in the CES-WE and especially in the assessment center because they did not go to a strategic review.
Yes, exactly.
Many of our enrollees in the online review program are retakers of the assessment center stage. Some of them are from CES-WE. Mas marami of course sa assessment center, knowing that it is the hardest stage in the CES eligibility process. What was your experience preparing for the CES-WE?
When I prepared for the Career Executive Service written examination in year 2005, I could not find any local, digital, or printed book or course on the CES-WE. I literally had to start from scratch. I browsed the web for materials for my review. Compared to the state of the internet now, online materials then were hard to find. Like preparing for a meal, I had to gather ingredients from all over the net and organize them into a review system. It was at first an experimental tool which I slowly developed into a high-quality review package. By design, I was able to undergo a strategic preparation for the CES-WE and pass it with high scores. The same review process that gave me a perfect proficiency score in the CES Assessment Center. I am passing this review system to our reviewees so they won't go through the pains that I went through.
Yes, mga kapatid, we developed these review packages into the CES-WE online review program and the enhanced AC online review programs. You can find the link to these programs in the podcast description. So, for today's podcast, we debunked 5 major CESO myths for your enlightenment. Hit that follow button so you will continue receiving our regular podcasts.
I am Rene.
And I am Stella, and we will help you become a CESO. This podcast is brought to you by CES Exams Review Center, the first and only online CES review center in the Philippines.